4222 Humanity Through Baseball Foundation was started as a result of a trip to Western Kenya that I took in February and March of 2010 with a business acquaintance and friend named Drew Sauer. The purpose of our going was to teach baseball to kids who had never seen the sport before, but it turned out to be far more than that. Our companions throughout the trip were two Baptist Kenyan pastors who run orphanages. Kenya is a fabulous place to visit because it has the best wildlife viewing in the world, and a safari there is absolutely unforgettable. But even more unforgettable are Kenya's people. And this trip was an experience that goes far beyond anything I can describe in words, but it certainly demands sharing and repeating, and it created a vision for what could be done in the future. And I'm going to try and share that with you. Well, everywhere we went, there were little kids, and lots of them, and they liked to practice their English. And the first English they apparently learned in school was, "How are you?" And the answer was, "We are fine." So everywhere you went, you get that, "How are you?" And we'd go, "We're fine." And we'd say, "How are you?" And they'd go, "We are fine." Just cute. And the "we are fine," I think, stands for a lot more than just a rudimentary English response. I think it was an attitude. And when we get back, I miss that. "How are you? We are fine." The kids loved the baseball. They really took to it, had a knack for it, picked up on the skills right away. The girls were just as good, if not better, than the boys. And they couldn't get enough of it. And everybody wanted to get into the act. Teachers, headmasters, the police department. And that enthusiasm just reminded us of whatever that fundamental thing is about baseball that attracted us all to it in the first place. And we were told before we went to Kenya that not to be making wisecracks or cracking jokes because the Kenyans didn't have much of a sense of humor, and they were very serious about everything, and if they heard us joking they would think we didn't like each other and so forth. Well, found out that practically nothing could be further from the truth, because these fellows had a tremendous sense of humor. And about the second or third day, we appointed Joshua the minister of baseball for Kenya, and he immediately took to the humor of that and has been referring to himself as the minister of baseball ever since. And just as game as could be. And at the end of the day, we drop him off along the highway out in front of his little orphanage, and there'd always be 3, 4, 6, 7 kids coming up to him, holding his hands, and he'd walk from the edge of the highway down into the orphanage area with these kids, and really quite a touching scene. And Drew and I would look at each other and go, "Now that's a man. That is a real man." The other pastor that worked with us all day, every day, was a fellow named Peter Agu. And Peter, like Joshua, was just a heck of a man, and he also cared for orphans who he had placed in foster homes in proximity to his little rural church. Peter would walk more than a mile on a muddy, often impassable road just to get out to the main highway so that he could go and try to raise funds to help his kids. He had a lovely daughter, Brenda, who's in some of the pictures, who spent one of the days with us, and just as cute as could be, and the two of them together were a really lovely thing to see. And we met several other pastors who also ran orphanages and took care of these kids who had no place else to go. And they begged us to come out to their orphanages and play ball with their kids. And the responsibility that these guys have and shoulder every day is just tremendous, and they can't do it alone. One day we were playing at this school, and we had to chase these kind of hotshot soccer kids off the field. We told them, listen, we're going to be hitting baseballs here. You need to get out of the way. So they were hanging out in center field, probably 380 feet away from home plate. And Drew liked to put on a little demonstration and show the kids how it's done. So he got a hold of this ball, and the instant he hit it, everybody there could tell it was headed right for this kid out in center field. And a huge roar went up from the kids, and sure enough, the ball hit this kid right in the rear end, and the kid fell over like he'd been shot. And the other kids were just in hysterics. But that was a priceless moment. He could have hit 100 balls and never even got close to that kid. There was a little girl, one of Joshua's kids, an orphan kid named Dorothy, and Dorothy had suffered severe burns when she was about 5 in a cooking grease fire, and burned the right side of her head and face, and also did severe damage to her right hand. She had a good thumb, but she was missing I think 3 of her fingers, and we were playing ball with these kids and getting them going, playing catch and so forth. And I was kind of checking on the crew, and Dorothy was standing over by herself, kind of looking a little bit lost. And I went over. I said, "Well, what's the matter?" And she showed me her hand. She said, I can't do it." And I said, "Well, let's try this." And I got a left-hander's glove, which of course fits on the right hand, and found one that fit her pretty good. And she realized that the glove had the fingers that she was missing, and she could throw with her left hand. And we were playing catch a little bit, and the smile on her face made the trip for me.